Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa, Neil's Roger Blank. Got back from the rest video. Okay, guys, we are back on Any News channel. This is part 2, I guess you could say, of the Gilgamesh lore video. This one is called How Strong is Gilgamesh? Fate Gilgamesh's True Power Explained, Noble Phantasm and Abilities. So we're gonna get more of his Gate of Babylonian and all other stuff he does, like a fight and everything like that. We're actually gonna get like the origin of all that stuff explained, I guess, in this video. But like I say, guys, before we get into this video, like I said, this video is brought to us by Any News. Link will be in the description box down below. First link to his channel. He got some more anime videos like this. So shout outs to Any News for these videos. And you guys are enjoying watching these videos because, like I said, I'm actually kind of learning more than what I previously knew. Because I knew about the Fate Stay Night series and stuff like that, but I didn't know how deep it was with like the whole gods and stuff like that, and like all the other stuff that they explained. Well, he explained in the last video we did. Speaking of that, guys, at the end of the video, if you guys make it to the end of the video, it's gonna be a couple cards. It's gonna be one on this side, one on this side, and then it's gonna be my channel in the middle to subscribe to. I'm pretty sure one of those is gonna be the video we did. You know, the last video we just did with the part 1 of Gilgamesh. So if you guys want to go and see that, go ahead, you can go ahead and click that when you get to the end of the video. But if you guys want to see other videos we've done for the Fate series, it's going to be a card somewhere around here. So you guys can go ahead and click that. It's going to be a playlist of the Fate series videos that we've done so far on the channel. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed that, let me know. I can do more of these videos for you guys. I'm trying to just bring you guys stuff you guys want to see. And also, like I said, hit that red button down below, man. Subscribe button, man. And also hit that bell notification. Like I said, it just takes only a few seconds of your time to go ahead and do that. Like I said, I think it's like, when I'm mistaken, last time I checked, was like about like 70 some or like 60 some percent aren't subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you guys like what you see here. So without further ado, guys, get right into this. So play.
Imagine a world where Gilgamesh actually decided to go all out in a fight for once, setting aside his arrogance and facing his opponent with every weapon in his arsenal and every ability at his disposal. Now, that would definitely be something worth seeing. However,
Really would be,
in the
though.
anime, we never quite see Gilgamesh's full potential since he's always operating under the assumption that he's the most powerful being around. And in the 4th and 5th Holy Grail War, that statement actually bears some truth. But because of his egotistical personality, he often finds himself in rather tough positions simply because he decides not to try. So let's take a look at how
Yeah, like when you chopped off his arm.
by not actually answering the question directly, but instead by looking at what exactly generates his power, including everything from his noble phantasms and abilities to all the notable weapons that he has stored in his Gate of Battle.
God, he just gouged them.
There's a lot. Let's just jump right into the good stuff, starting with the noble phantasm that classifies this servant as an archer, even though we've really never seen him use a bow in his life.
Right.
The true name of this literal portal to a seemingly infinite number of A+ ranked weapons is Gate of Babylon, the King's Treasury, which is an interesting name.
Can't believe he's reconsidered our archer, but he never uses a bow. How?
But since the Golden Capital was often a name used,
I never understood that. How you an archer, but you never use a bow a day in your life?
Gate of Babylon became a very fitting name. Now, as I'm sure you already know, this noble phantasm grants access to all the valuable items that Gilgamesh had collected during his time as king. It does so by opening what's known as a divine gate that connects the space of reality to the treasury. This portal acts as an invisible door that allows the treasures and weapons within the vault to easily pass through on just a whim. They can be summoned directly into his hands, though that's rarely the case since he instead would rather use them as projectiles and fire multiple at a time through the air like an omnidirectional Gatling gun that shoots different...
Is that why he's an archer? Because he just shoots them out instead of actually using them as like a sword or like?
Classifying him as not only an archer, but an archer with the strongest arrows. The true extent of this ability is determined simply by how serious Gilgamesh considers the fight. He judges the amount of weapons he needs by the severity of the situation. Most often, the gate he uses is very small, firing few weapons at a time, sort of just as a playful usage of the ability. But when up against a strong opponent like Heracles, the gate becomes wider and he can fight with up to hundreds or even thousands of weapons at a time. The weapons can then be returned to the vault at any time and even reused instantly should he choose to. But
wow, I didn't know that.
The treasury
so it's not he just uses treasures and then that's it. You can't use them no more. He actually take them
Now,
back
last
and use them
video, I
again.
don't
Back
think
then,
that I
just
was
like that. Like,
over-exaggerating when I
that's
said that these
crazy.
weapons are
Wow.
launched at a speed of Mach 10. I mean, that's only 12,348 kilometers per hour, which should probably generate
That's
enough
ridiculous,
force
bro.
to parry an attack from a jacked-up demigod with 11 lives. But being able to block one of these weapons is only half the battle. Since each one is different and often a noble phantasm in itself, they likely have unique abilities apart from the massive explosions that they generate on impact. So if you didn't want to get messed up by some random side effect of a weapon he just threw at you for shits, then it'd be in your best interest to just dodge them instead. Dodging, however, is also very unlikely, since portals to the vault can be freely deployed pretty much anywhere. Although he likes to launch them from behind his back like a total G, he can just as easily completely surround his opponent with portals and create an inescapable omnidirectional barrage of death. It's also said that if he really wanted to play with his opponent, he would just spawn a random weapon into his hand and attempt some good old hand-to-hand combat, so long as he thought he was the better swordsman at least. Though it's likely that quite a few servants would actually be able to take him on in hand-to-hand combat, since Gilgamesh is more of a jack-of-all-trades master of none type, and every other lancer, saber, or archer servants are ones who have mastered a single weapon to its utmost limits. But more
Yeah.
on his combat ability later. Let's talk about what's actually inside the vault.
You
In
do
order
more
to
that's
gain access to the
outside
vault,
of
you first need the key.
what you can
The key
actually
is
do,
called the
or what
Key
you're
of
supposed to
King's
do.
Law, Bab Elu. It's a creation from Gilgamesh's time as ruler, intended for the sole purpose of unlocking the gates deep
But it
within his
comes kind of
kingdom.
live though. Got a little,
Its shape is
little,
constantly changing,
what was that,
and it can't be
lion, some
handled by
wings on the
Gilgamesh himself.
side. That's
Though
crazy.
Gilgamesh just discarded the key because he sees no use for having it around, and knows no one is foolish enough to attempt to steal from him. As for the contents of the vault, he's stated to have collected all the treasures to have ever existed in the world during his lifetime, lacking absolutely nothing. I mean, it's not hyperbole when he says he collected all the treasures of the earth. Apparently, the number of treasures within continue to increase even to this day at such a rate that even Gilgamesh doesn't fully know how much is within it. It has weapons, technologies, books, and even games. As an example of how
What?
it continues to expand,
He just don't
since
got
the
swords in
technologies
there. He
he had
got
collected from his
literally
era
everything.
served as a
Like what?
basis for modern technology, things like airplanes and submarines also exist within the vault. But here's where things get interesting.
What doesn't he have?
Gilgamesh was the first hero. His collection of treasures, which included weapons and books and technology, served as the origin of human wisdom. The only things that could be missing from the vault are items that are produced by entities not of the human race or of extraterrestrial origin. So since this is the case, that means that all other weapons that serve as noble phantasms to other servants were derived from Gilgamesh's collection and therefore exist within his vault. They're not known
Whoa.
as their named versions though. They're
Wow.
actually nameless and referred to as
That
original
makes a
prototypes.
lot of
So
freaking
Gilgamesh,
sense.
in
That's
fact,
nuts.
obtains the prototype for every noble phantasm to
Right.
ever
That's
been
what I say.
created
He
by
has the
humans,
original. He has a
since they weren't
prototype of
originally
what
derived from his
now
initial
what these
treasures. Of
weapons and
course,
stuff
noble
are now.
phantasms
Like
like
that type of
Heracles'
everything.
God Hand, which was derived from Heracles' own
That's
legend, is
crazy.
one that Gilgamesh can't obtain. Then the existence of a weapon in the vault, like Karna's Vasavi Shakti, is completely unknown to Gil since it was never actually used in Karna's legend. If there's no description of the weapon's use, then Gil really only has the name to go by and can't successfully match it to any other spear in the vault. But the reason that Gil's treasure came to serve as the origin for all others was because after he had died, through ways unknown to myself, the treasures within the vault were somehow dispersed all over the world. They were either stolen or handed down, and since they were treated as such valuable weapons, they eventually became established as noble phantasms through various heroic legends, which, fun fact, also derive from Gil's legend itself. Now, the quality of Gilgamesh's prototypes could be said to make even the more popular named versions look like fakes, due to how high quality their original state was. It's mentioned that if a newer version was to ever go up against its original version, the newer version would always lose, meaning that Gilgamesh's prototypes are the strongest iteration of every noble phantasm derived from the vault.
Really?
That doesn't necessarily mean that if he was to fight against Gabe Bold with his unnamed version of it, that he would just automatically win the fight. It just means that Gil's prototype is a stronger version. So, if Gilgamesh was to actually take a fight seriously, he could just sift through the weapons in his vault to find just the right ones that would directly counter his opponent. But since he's just an arrogant piece of shit, he'll instead just throw whatever and only bring out trump cards like Aya or the Chains of Heaven in really dire situations. For the sake of knowing though, let's go ahead and
Yeah,
take a
get
look
piece
at
of
some
crap.
of the known weapons within the vault anyway. There's Fergus's Calidbolg, the Rainbow Sword, Roland's Durandal, the Peerless Sword, Cuchulain's Gay Bolg, Fafnir's Demonic Deinschliff Sword, Sigurd's
What the
Grand,
hell?
Perseus's Immortal Slaying Scythe Harp, the Chinese Halberd Hotengeki, Indra's Vajra, and then a whole bunch of other unnamed axes, sickles, spears, swords, armors, incenses, vehicles, and even cooking items and food. A few notable
What?
non-weapon
Cooking items and food and armor, bro. Like, what do you, what?
the Holy Grail itself,
Is he even
though,
using
has
it,
long
man?
since vanished from within the vault, and even this crazy jet-shaped noble phantasm called Vimana, throne of the heaven-soaring king.
I mean,
This is one of the more
that looks
interesting
cool,
vehicles in his
but
possession.
why does he
I
have
mean,
that?
sure, he has the Ship of Light, which allows him to travel faster than the speed of light, but Vimana lets him travel at the speed of thought, and it looks pretty fucking cool. It uses
Speed
solar
of
crystals
thought?
along with quartz and mercury as fuel to bypass the
Yo,
laws of physics and
yo.
travel at impossible speeds. It's a ship immortalized through 2 Indian epic sagas which recounted a golden and emerald arc loaded with various guns and ancient nuclear warheads, as well as equipped with optical camouflage, communication interception devices, laser beams, and even bioweapons. No disrespect to the creators of this legend, but it's almost like a 5-year-old came up with a design for this and filled it with every cool feature that they could imagine at the time. Anyway, then he
Facts,
has
though.
the Potion of Youth from his legend, which, as you already know, returns the user back to their younger self. Apparently, it returns you to the form of a child, and that in itself not only alters his appearance, but also his personality. Although the memories from his older self remains, his younger self
Wait,
can't
so
really
if that's his
comprehend
younger
the other's
self,
actions,
who are these?
and
Is
there
that his
forms this
family? Like, is that his
disconnect
mom right
between them.
there?
It's assumed that this potion was used to allow himself to blend in during the 10 years of off time after the Fourth Holy Grail War. Though if the time ever came for him to suddenly have to fight at full strength, he could forcibly reverse the effects. That being said, Gilgamesh does have a couple of
And who is that? He's
and
freaking
they are
gouged right
Ea
there.
and
God, look at
Enkidu.
the blood.
Enkidu, Chains of Heaven, being named after his best friend and all, is classified as his most trusted noble phantasm. It's a weapon crafted by the gods with the purpose of binding the gods, making it one of the few anti-divine weapons that grows stronger with the more divinity that an opponent has. But that can also act as a double-edged sword, since an opponent like Saber who has no divinity whatsoever would just be up against regular chains that could be broken out of with just a little bit of effort. Though there is also a
That
limit
is
to
that
what
is
that against
Saber there? Like,
those of
who is
divine
that?
origin, since Heracles was able to move around quite a lot after getting completely
I ain't
blinded
never
by the
watched that
chains,
one, I don't
and
think.
he himself is half god. Though it is technically just one long chain, multiple sections of it can be summoned at a time, allowing for binding around various parts of the body. He goes for complete immobility when he wants to bind his opponent, and can attempt it a seemingly infinite number of times, since there never seems to be a limit to its length when he uses them. It can also
Limited
bind
length,
the
and then,
brief
like,
space
how
it
much
takes
strain
up,
does it take on
nullifying
him
all
actually using
magic
all
in
these
the area.
abilities? That's the question.
Then there's his Sword of Rupture, Ea, the most powerful noble phantasm within Gilgamesh's treasury and the so-called pinnacle of noble phantasms. A sword that's unique to Gilgamesh's existence and never passed down for future
Oh, that was the sword he
legends.
took
Though
out
calling the
against
sword isn't
Shiri when he
technically
used to have to
correct, since it was
slash
an
him,
item that
but he
existed
took off his
before
arm
the
before he
concept
could
of a
actually use
sword
it.
was even invented. It's designed with a cylindrical drill-like pillar split into 3 rotating segments that represent the heavens, the earth, and the underworld, which when combined together form a representation of the universe itself. Ea was simply a name that Gilgamesh chose for it, most likely as tribute to the Mesopotamian gods of earth and water. In actuality, it's a nameless creation of a god from long before humanity's existence, which then crystallized into form at the beginning of the world. A one-of-a-kind divine construct that even Shiro's unlimited blade works can't duplicate. A sword that knew the world before Genesis, making it the first memory of life that can only be shown when someone gazes upon it. The true formation of the world as it happened and as it was witnessed by this divine weapon. But what exactly does this noble phantasm do? There's actually an ability attributed to it that Gilgamesh needs to call by name in order to activate it. It's called Enuma Elish, the star of creation that split heaven and earth. As the 3 cylindrical sections of the sword begin
That
to
sounds
rotate,
like something,
the resulting
really
winds create a
cool.
spatial severance. You see, these aren't just your normal winds. They're described as compressed and intertwined stratifications or layers of wind that turn into gaps between space and time, which result in an undefendable attack that tends to destroy everything in its path. There are various levels at which this attack can be activated, which tend to reflect how serious Gilgamesh is taking the fight. Though even the most held back versions are enough to completely surpass an attack from Saber's Excalibur. So we essentially have this primordial sword that creates winds that tear the very fabric of space. Anywhere the winds
Wait,
cut,
that's
a void of
Gilgamesh?
nothingness will open up, whether it's the ground of the earth or the
Oh
very
my
sky above.
goodness.
And that newly opened void will begin to swallow up its surrounding area, creating a vacuum as it attempts to reenact Genesis. The voids are said to show the truth of the world and reveal the mystery of creation itself, the beginning of life, until all that's left is a vacuum. But yeah, you can see how the type of attack that this noble phantasm produces could easily destroy the world Ryder's reality marble created. Hell, it could even destroy the world itself if Gilgamesh really wanted it to. Anyway, those are his main noble phantasms. As for his other skills, though not nearly as strong combat-wise, they're still beneficial to Gilgamesh's build per se. First up, he's got the highest rank of the skill Golden Rule, which measures how likely he is to gain wealth during his lifetime, meaning that he will never be in a negative financial situation. Money and riches will always find its way to him. This skill played a great
Shit,
role
I
in
need
helping him
that.
at every single
Give
treasure
me,
in the world.
give me the
during
golden
his
rule
life.
in real life.
Then there's his
Sheesh, I
charisma
need
skill
that.
that allows him to
Where I
command
go,
an
I won't be
army
broke.
and build an empire with great
Sign me up,
confidence.
coach.
He also has Divinity, which technically should be the highest rank since he's 2/3 god, though this rank is actually decreased due to his disdain towards the gods during his lifetime, especially the ones that killed Enkidu. He also has Independent Action, which gives him a lot of self-sustainability, as well as Clairvoyance in the form of the noble phantasm Shah Nakba Imiru, the omniscient, omnipotent star. This is Gilgamesh's mentality converted into a continuously active noble phantasm that allows him to determine servants' true names, noble phantasms, and power levels at pretty much a glance. You can see through matches
It's
that
over
he can
9,000.
determine the most optimal move in any situation. It damn near borders on the ability to see the future because he can also see the outcomes of a situation through parallel worlds. So overall, Gil is just a walking powerhouse. His collection of noble phantasms make it almost impossible
Every time I
for
see
anyone
that,
to
man,
counter him,
dude.
as he could just quickly assess the situation and determine which weapons work best when. But the thing is, he just doesn't. He will rarely, if ever, get serious in a fight, and as I said in the beginning,
This
that is
is the
most
sword he was
often
just talking
when
about, but he couldn't
Calcius
use it
defeated.
against Shiryu before he cut his
Reasons
hand
he will
off.
use his trump card Aya against anyone that he deems unworthy, which is pretty much everyone. He could probably find some pretty devastating prototype noble phantasms in his collection too, though he would never actually think of using them for what they're actually worth. So his potential to be the strongest servant is definitely up there, but he'll never be the strongest, since you first have to fight like a champion to be the champion. And that, everyone, is the Fate version.
Yeah. Yeah, see that's the thing though. It's like, yeah, like Gilgamesh, he has the ability, like Anu said, he has the ability to be the strongest, but he will never be the strongest because of the way he is. Like he doesn't think that, for one, he doesn't use the treasures that's stored up in his gate of Babylonian. He doesn't use them to their right abilities, and like he doesn't think like, oh, my trump card, let me use this against somebody. Like he doesn't he basically gets in his own head while fighting. Really, that's really what it is. Like, okay, cool, you're injuring me or you giving me a fight. I don't care because I still think you under me. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you nowhere on my level. You feel me? So like that's why I'm just gonna still use any and all of the treasures that I have, just use them to my disposal because I just don't care about what you're trying to do to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy to really think about that. Like this dude literally has the ability to be the top servant in Fate, literally, like all the abilities and everything that Anu just explained to us and stuff you already knew about him. He can literally be number one, but he literally just doesn't care to be number one. That's the thing. Like, and it's crazy because like having all that ability and all that stuff, it's like basically being a prodigy and you're not using the full extent of your prodigy abilities to its utmost. You know what I'm saying? Like to 110% of what you can do. He's literally using, I probably say on a percentage scale, Gilgamesh probably uses like 5, maybe 10% of what he can actually do. You know what I'm saying? Like say for instance this Shinro fight when he was fighting them in that the Unlimited Blade Works area, wherever that place was called, with all the swords on the ground. So you telling me right when he's coming in, when he's powered up, you want to pull out E? I think that's what the sword was called. His trump card E. He pulls it out. And he's about to use it because he's like, dang, I'm in a pinch. I'm in a pickle. You know what I'm saying? Pull it out. And I'm about to use it. But as soon as he pulls it out, the dude slashes his arm with it, and it's just like, and he's like, you're not better than me, and all that. Like, bro, why didn't you just use that from the get go? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But anyway, guys, this was any news video. Like I said, link will be in the description box down below. It'll be first link in the description box down below to lead to his channel until you can go and see any of his other anime type of videos. Yeah, so this one is called How Strong is Gilgamesh? Gilgamesh's true ability to explain is no phantasms in his ability. So yeah, this is actually a really good video. It's going on 20-some minutes. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, like, share, subscribe on the video. Like I say, I think it's like 60 or 70% of you guys aren't subscribed to the channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me if you guys like what you see here. If you keep coming back, like I say, let me know if you just by hitting that button down below, man. It's free. As well as the bell notification for YouTube and the channel notification, so you can be notified as I make a future upload. I'll be trying to upload daily, if not 6 days a week, during the week while I'm working and everything like that. So yeah, guys, yeah. So that's about it right there, guys. So like, subscribe on the video, like I said, and I'm out. Peace.